Astrodome, the world's first dome air conditioning indoor stadium, known as the eighth wonder of the world, a landmark in the city of Houston. But this building is haunted, and Houston is too. This is January 3rd, 1993. The only thing that I loved in this world at this time was my mother, the Ninja Turtles, and the Houston Oilers, with players like Warren Moon, Haywood Jeffries, Ernest Givens, Chris Dishman, and even before I was born, the history of the Oilers. Earl Campbell, one of the greatest running backs of all time, went to University of Texas, known as the Tyler Rose. Let's fast forward to the game that was called the comeback. January 3rd, 1993, like I said, the Houston Oilers were going against the Buffalo Bills. The Oilers were known for running a sophisticated offense at this time known as the run and shoot offense. The basic idea behind the run and shoot offense, according to Wikipedia, is a flexible offense that adjusts on the fly, with wide receivers changing their routes based on defensive coverage and the play of the defenders covering them. Basically, to me, the run and shoot offense is just a different way of playing football. Up until this time, football had a slogan that was known as 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Passing was just now becoming a thing in the NFL, where in the past, most people were just running the football. Let me give you a little history about Warren Moon. In my opinion, the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL that was not drafted. Warren Moon had to play 5 years in the Canadian Football League, where he won several great cups. He was not drafted into the NFL because at this time the NFL and their owners didn't feel like a black man had the mental capacity or capability to run a football team. However, Warren Moon would definitely break that stigma, like I said, being one of the greatest passers in the history of the NFL. And shout out to the Houston Oilers, my hometown team, for giving him a chance. The playoffs would begin, and the game would pretty much look like it was over at halftime. Warren Moon would be 19 of 22 in the first half with 4 touchdowns. The Oilers would also get a pick six. This is around the time when the Dallas Cowboys were dominating the NFL, and the Houston Oilers were looked at as the little brother. With a 35-3 lead at halftime, it's almost certain that the Oilers would advance to the next round and get one step closer of making it an all-Texas Super Bowl. Not only were the Oilers up 35-3 at halftime, but the two most explosive and important offensive weapons for the Buffalo Bills were sidelined, that being Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas, the 1-2 combination that got the Bills to 4 straight Super Bowls. In the second half, that's where it would all fall down. The Bills will start off scoring their first touchdown in the third quarter, then getting an onside kick, catching the Oilers off guard. Not only would they recover it, but the kicker himself would recover it. This would lead to question mark play calling by the Houston Oilers, as they would continue to pass the ball. Every incompletion would stop the clock and basically give the Bills more time to make a comeback. Don BB would streak along the sideline to score another touchdown. And after this, it just really, like I said, got bad. The Oilers would continue passing the football, which made no sense. Some people feel like it was rigged. The Oilers threw the game. Frank Wright and the Bills would have the greatest comeback in NFL history against the Houston Oilers, which stands to this day. To give the Oilers credit, they would force the game to go into overtime, but it should have never even got to that point. The Bills will come out, snap the ball, and the kicker Christie will make a perfect field goal straight down the middle, breaking the hearts of every Houstonian and every Houston Oiler football fan, including myself. Like I said, the 41-38 win is still the greatest comeback in NFL history. After poor attendance and poor play, the Oilers will leave the city in 1996. Even though the Astrodome at one point in time had been the eighth wonder of the world, owner Bud Adams wanted a new stadium. And after him and the city failed to come to an agreement, the Oilers would move to Tennessee. I started with the Oilers losing that game because I was a 6-year-old kid and I watched that. Little did I know my favorite basketball player would go through heartbreak as well. When it comes to Hakeem Olajuwon, I don't really need to do any research. The 7-footer came from Nigeria, signed with the University of Houston Cougars, and was the best player on arguably one of the most exciting basketball teams in the history of collegiate basketball, the Fly Slammer Jammer, where Hakeem averaged 17 points and 14 rebounds. Clyde Drexler was also on this team, a guy known as one of the greatest dunkers of all time in the history of the NBA with the nickname Clyde the Glide. Larry Mishaw was also on this team. I mean, this team was just athletic, kind of like the Showtime Lakers, but just the college version. Our head coach, Guy Lewis, with the talent of this new freshman, Hakeem Olajuwon. And if you look at this photo right here, he looked real fresh, man. Hakeem came to the States and really wrecked shop, though. And I know this is about the Cougars as a team, but I'm just using Olajuwon as my reference point. Like I said, that's my favorite basketball player of all time. And this is about something that he went through, him and Clyde Drexler, more so to speak. Drexler averaged 15 points and 10 rebounds on this team, and the freshman Olajuwon chipped in with 8 points and 6 rebounds, which was good enough to get them to the national semifinals where they would go against the North Carolina Tar Heels. And even though there was a duo of Drexler and Olajuwon, it still wasn't good enough to beat the duo of James Worthy and Michael Jordan. And even though the Cougars didn't come out on top, they had to leave this game knowing that they were going to be a force for years to come, which they were. The next season, Clyde Drexler will average around 15 points, 8 rebounds, and Olajuwon, the sophomore, will average a double-double. University of Cougars will be 31-3, pretty much the best team all year in the NCAA, good enough to make it to not only the tournament but the NCAA championship game where they will go against the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Say the Wolfpack was a 6 seed, they barely got to the championship game. They had to go in a double overtime one game. They won another game by 1 point, another by 1 point, and then another by 7. While U of H had some difficult games in the tournament, they won games 89-71, 94-81. At this point in time in the championship game, Olajuwon got 17 points, 17 rebounds, and 7 blocks. It's the second half. They got a 7-point lead. Let's fast forward to the second half where it's 44 seconds left in the game. Tie ball game, 52-52. The Wolfpack have the ball, and basically they're trying to waste time off the clock and keep U of H from getting the ball, but they almost make a real key pivotal mistake. Clyde Drexler, with 12 seconds on the clock, has a chance to steal the ball and go the other way to potentially put the game away, but he don't get the steal. The Wolfpack keep passing the ball around, and they end up getting the shot. But let's go back. There's almost another steal by U of H. This certainly will put the game away, as the Cougar will have a fast break with nobody down there to contest the dunk. But he doesn't make the steal, and this changes the course of history. They will get the shot off, and this is before instant replay, all the different camera angles, in stadiums. I think this probably could have been a goal team. We'll never know. But this is how the U of H Cougars lost.
You can see the time. Wittenberg. Oh, it's a long ways.
This would be a very iconic video of Jimmy Valvano running around after his team defeated U of H in such dramatic fashion. That's my daughter in the background. This win came against the University of Houston Cougars, but this propelled Jimmy Valvano to be an advocate against cancer, having the Jimmy V Research Foundation, and giving one of the greatest speeches of all time, speaking about not ever giving up in life. The combination of Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon would later go on to win the championship, but even it would be some pain related to that era. This is part 1 in the Hurt of Houston. Please remember to stay tuned, like and subscribe, and I'll be hitting you with part 2 very soon. Appreciate it.